It's a new year, it's a new me. How many times have you heard that? How many times have you said that? Lost count? Trust me, I know how that goes. At the start of every new year, we always want to feel like something's different, something's changed. January the 1st rolls around and you're like, this is it. It's 2020 whatever, and I'm going to be a new person. Everything I couldn't do last year, somehow, magically, I'm going to do it this year. Then you wait and nothing really happens. You can never quite find the time to just get stuff done. You just kind of end up being the same as last year. And you're like, well, I guess that's my life. As human beings, we love progress. We love new. And when we don't see it, when we don't feel it, and when we don't experience it, that's when you start to ask the question, is this it? Am I really living? Is this what it means to be alive? If you've ever had any of these thoughts, I can tell you what you don't need: a New Year's resolution. Instead, you need a New Year's reset. In this video, I'm going to tell you exactly how you can reset your life in 2025. If you're ready, let's go. When you're not enjoying life, it's like you're just waiting for the new year. It's like flipping the calendar to January the 1st makes us feel like this is the year everything's gonna change. But here's the truth most people don't talk about. If you haven't decided to change, you won't. And notice here, I said decided. Not that you want to or were thinking about it, it's an option. You've intentionally decided to make this change. Because when you don't decide, all that momentum you built up for the new year, by the second week of January, is fading, gone. Life's looking very familiar, and it just looks like everything, including you, is back to normal. That's the reason why New Year's resolutions don't really work. The stats are so bad. 80% of resolutions fail by Feb. If you've seen our Black Swan video, you'll know exactly how bad the situation is. There's something we call the resolution spiral. And trust me, you don't want to fall into that for another year. Check out that video where we break it down fully. And this is the reason why we say you don't need a New Year's resolution. Instead, you need a New Year's reset. If you've looked back at last year and you've struggled to make any meaningful change, not because you didn't want to, but for some reason, you couldn't find the time or the energy to take action. Every goal seemed like a mountain to climb. The process was just overwhelming. You didn't believe you could do it. For whatever reason, you just weren't able to make it. I'm telling you, a reset is what you need. Like I said before, typically as humans, we want progress. You want to see life moving on and progressing. You want to feel like you're living your life. And when we don't see any progress, and when we keep setting the goals and we keep flopping, we keep falling off and ending up back at square one, this is how you can start to feel trapped. Even though you know where you want to go in life, you feel lost because you don't feel like you have the ability to control what is going on in your life. It can be like you've been living the last year in an endless loop where you blink and months have gone by and you're still in the same situation you don't want to be in. This is where you have to break the loop and reset. So to properly explain what I mean when I say reset, I always like to dig into definitions. There's two versions of definitions that I want to highlight. So one, reset is set again or set differently. So this is basically to realign something and to set it in a different position or direction. And then there's a second, which reset also means to reset back to the beginning or original state, i.e. back to zero. This is a bit easier to understand. You're literally setting something back to how it was before or wiping it clean to start again. Think factory reset on your phone or resetting a stopwatch back to zero. So now we're going to use these two definitions to determine the two types of resets you're going to need to make this year. The first type of reset is a back to base reset. This reset is needed when you've lost track in life. You've gone off course, you had a particular direction you were moving in, or something you wanted to achieve or conquer and you fell off track. You got distracted, you got tired, got lazy. Somehow you ended up moving away from your intended direction, and now you need to go back to base and reset so you can go again full force in the direction you need to go in. The second type of reset is the set differently reset. Now this reset is needed when you just need to make a new change. You haven't ever started working on this particular change, goal or accomplishment, and you need to now figure out a way to make it happen. So you're going to need to set yourself differently to reset yourself and your life to make it happen. So you'll need one or the other. You're either resetting back to somewhere you've been before to get back on track, or you're setting yourself differently to start a new journey in a new direction. Now we understand the 2 types of resets you can make. I'm going to go over 3 steps you can take to make your reset in 2025. And pay attention guys, because we're about to go deep. First, conduct a last year audit. Choose an area of your life, your health or fitness, your finances or career, your relationship or family life, skills, talents, whatever you think is needed. Take them one by one, but choose as many as you would like to change. Next, you're going to answer 3 questions about each of these areas. Firstly, where do you make progress in this area last year? Think about it and write down where you made positive moves or steps forward. If none, then write none. Next, where did it not go well in the area last year? Where did you have intentions and it didn't work out? Also, go into detail about why you think it didn't work and try to get into the heart of the issue. The real reason it was a flop. Was it laziness? Was it distraction? Was it finance related? Write down whatever you think the true issue was. And lastly, what do you want to happen now in this area of your life? If you've written this area of your life down, this means there's a problem. Something's not right. What do you want this area of your life to look like? How do you want it to be? You can be generic in this point and describe the change you want to see in this area. From this, now you'll be able to figure out if you're going to need a back to basis reset or a set differently reset. To finish up your audit of last year, reflect on the whole year and what you've just noted down, and give each area of your life a rating. Now you can decide how you want to rate it and what criteria you want to use, as this is going to be pretty subjective and different from person to person. For the second step of the New Year's reset, you're going to use what you wrote down earlier about the change you want to happen to create a single goal to achieve. Now here, the key is to make a single achievable goal. We just want one clear achievable goal that you can start to work towards. Next, you're going to prepare 12 lines if you're doing this on paper or in a book, or 12 rows if you're doing it on a spreadsheet. Number each row 1 to 12. Then you're going to write out one simple, easy action you can take to move the needle towards your overall goal each week. Whether your action is large or small, it can be things like research, reaching out to someone, preparing a list, drinking water, filling in a form. It can be as small as you think you can manage. The more simple, the better, because this is what will enable the activity and the momentum to keep going. The key is to keep it simple and to pace yourself, because you're focused on incremental changes and movements towards the overall goal. Now I know typically you would hear people say a goal needs to be measured for you to know whether you've hit it or not. There needs to be a number or metrics attached to it. In this case, the focus is on the activity and the action, not the result. We're trying to get you moving. If you want to put a number to it, that's fine. Feel free to do it. But in this case, it's not critical. For example, you could have a goal to launch a podcast. The action might be researching on tips, research on equipment, sending out emails the week after. If it's your health or fitness, you can just aim to start with a 1-hour walk once every week, or buying supplements you need, or fasting a certain amount of days a week. If it's in your relationship, it could be a date night once a week for 12 weeks. This is all completely up to you. Have a think about it and figure out what your 12 weekly mini goals are for your first 12 weeks. So now, the last step to creating your New Year's reset is anticipating your blockers by reflecting on what could trip you up or what did trip you up last year. Now, this is very important, because when you're trying to take the steps to move forwards towards your goal, there's always going to be resistance. Something is going to come along to trip you up and throw a spanner in the works. The more time you've taken to consider your blockers before they happen, the less likely they are going to throw you off, because you saw it coming and you're prepared. So if you're doing a back to base reset, reflect on the kind of things that stopped you from achieving your goal last time. What came along and pushed you off track? Was it time restrictions, financial restrictions? Was it the weather, or having the right equipment or software? Think about what tripped you up and set you off course last time, so you can now make sure it doesn't stop you this time. In the same way, because you're in familiar territory, think of any new things that could come up and trip you up this time. If you're doing a set differently reset, this is going to be new ground. So you're going to need to consider knowing yourself and your life and what could crop up that could stop you achieving your mini goals. I recommend you do a bit of a research on your new goal which you want to achieve, and then think through possible blockers that could be in the way. Trust me, this year isn't like last year. We're not going to get caught out this year. Use the list of blockers that you identify and think ahead and come up with corresponding mitigations for each one. If you do this as a list on a document or a spreadsheet, in one column have the list of blockers, and right beside each one, write out exactly what you think you could do to avoid it happening or what you will do if it happens. This means you're ready and prepared to combat them before they even come up. And be as honest as possible with this. Remember, only you are going to see it. The aim is to figure out how to avoid genuine problems that could happen before you face them in the moment. If you're not caught off guard, you're more likely to overcome the blockers. So those are your 3 steps to creating a New Year's reset for 2025. Let us know in the comments below which reset you'll be making this year, and let's get encouragement flowing. So like I said earlier, the New Year's reset is for everyone who wants to see changes finally happen this year. The focus is on the actions you're going to be taking across the next 12 weeks, not just the results. The activity is more beneficial for you now than the result. So no matter what, keep doing what you decided to do at the beginning of the new year, what you promised yourself you would do. If you do that for 12 weeks, whatever happens, you're a winner, because you've already beaten 80% of people by consistently acting for the first quarter of the year. At this point, you set 2025 up to be life-changing. At the end of your 12-week run, make sure you do a review. Just repeat the steps for the New Year's reset, and that's going to make sure you stay on track every quarter of the year. The aim is for this year to be different from all other years. And now we know and understand the power of the New Year's reset. Make sure you take action straight away to keep the momentum going beyond this video. I recommend you start now. Remember, this year we need to make sure it's a new year, it's a new me, but for real this time.